So
Yes.
we're recording. All
Mhm.
right, ready?
Yep.
What's up, guys? It's Anthony from AB Fitness Center here. And today I got an awesome episode for you guys. We got on one of our best clients. His name is Clinton. Clinton has an amazing transformation. And, we're going to get into this today. I wanted to do something a little bit different for everybody because I know sometimes you got to hear it from other people to understand how the journey takes place. I talk about all the time, all the tips you can do, all of this, all of that, but it's the practical application behind all of it that makes a difference. And Clinton has done that. He's taken everything that we've ever given him. He's followed it to the T, and he's achieved, he's reached the top, right? He's at that pinnacle point. So I wanted you guys to hear it directly from Clinton. So let's welcome on Clinton.
Thank you so much for having me.
Round
Really
of applause.
good to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know. How you doing, Clinton? How's everything, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. As good as it's going to be, right? With everything
Yes,
going on right now.
Yes.
So Clinton, let's start this off. So how old are you? And talk a little bit about just your story. And let's just give everyone like a quick story, and then we'll go into the details of it. Because I know people have a ton of questions. Clinton's down around 20 pounds, but he lost about 12% body fat. So he's gained a significant amount of muscle working with us. But Clinton, let's hear it from you.
Yeah, I got in actually I got involved with AB Fitness through my wife. She had started working out and she invited me to just see what it is like. At first I was a little skeptical because my doctor always told me that I needed to lose weight, and my point was weight off of what? Because I'm really slim built. So I couldn't see where I needed to lose weight. So at the time when I joined, I was 47 years old. I was a little above 190 pounds. And joining the program, I met Anthony yourself, and you broke it down to me exactly what needed to be done. So I decided to try it out. So at the time when I joined, I was on two medications, Benacar and fenofibrate. One was for high cholesterol and one was for my blood pressure. And I've been on those medications, for over 15 years. So I started a while back on those and been on them ever since. And so ever since being on those medications, my doctor advised me. So I could see where weight off of what was going to
Wait, Clinton, we can't hear you. You're breaking up a little bit, bud.
my doctor.
Oh, we lost Clinton. You hear me, bud? No, I can't hear you. Maybe take your mic out now. I can't hear you. I only hear background. Oh, clip it back in. Maybe it came out.
Hello?
There we go. Now we got you.
Okay, so let me try that again. Yes, so my doctor would always tell me that I needed to lose weight. And I would always complain, I can't lose weight out of anything because there's not much of me to go around. So when I started with Anthony, I met with the crew there, and they explained to me exactly what I needed to do. And my journey started from that point on. So here I am about well over a year later on, and having achieved all the goals we have set out to achieve.
And more.
And more. Exactly.
Right. One of the things that I love about Clinton is, one, he's obviously a very hard worker, but two, one of the things that I love about your story is you were on medication for such a long time, and now you're off of it completely. How does that feel? How does that feel? You were on it for how long?
Over 15 years.
Yeah.
I went on it obviously well over 10, 15 years ago. I was much younger then. And my doctor, felt that because of my family history, I needed to be on it, and my blood pressure and my cholesterol was always reporting higher. So, it's quite an accomplishment to get off it. The first time I went to the doctor after starting with AB Fitness, after starting with you, I started in late February. I went to the doctor in August, and then the doctor was so impressed with my numbers, with my blood pressure rate was much lower. My heart rate was much lower in terms of my fitness level, and my cholesterol numbers came in so well, because it's not just about exercising, it's also about the diet. And he was so impressed. He said, you know what, if you keep this up, then maybe we can take you off by next year in January. So I'm like, wow. So that was my first big accomplishment. I couldn't believe, it was really nice to know that, it paid off so early. So by the time I got around to, it was February, when I went back to my doctor, he was impressed. He actually said, I didn't expect your numbers to be this good when you got back in. I thought it was a fluke when I saw you last August. So so he said, as I said before, you're off, come off everything immediately. So, and that was it. So it really feels good to know that there was a point to what he was saying, that you needed to lose weight, and having sat down with your team, showing me that it's really not so much the fact that you don't look fat. It's just that you have more fat on your body than muscle mass. And so you have to kind of bring that up into some kind of an equilibrium. So achieve that goal and have more muscle than I have than fat right now. So it feels really, really, really good. Actually, it does. Feels very good.
Yeah, and now you have too much muscle.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But yes, but it's nice to look in the mirror and see a difference in terms of what you look like before and afterwards. It
Right.
definitely feels good. Yes.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about let's go back to the beginning. So your wife had started with us and then she had told you about it and you said you were skeptical, but at that moment in time, what were you thinking about? Like, why was the reason that you started? Because obviously most people get started with this just to look better, right? But was that the driving factor behind it for you? Like, why did you end up starting?
This not to look better, but I decided that looking better, of course, is a plus, but I think the main thing was just health. I'm not getting any younger. I am now 48 years old, and if you don't start somewhere, then they said after a certain age everything goes downhill, but you really have to start paying much closer attention to your to your health. So I figure that it doesn't hurt to try this. I mean, and it's something that I've always been. I used to exercise long before that, but I was never consistent with it. But I remember how good it felt to do that. And then being the age that I am right now, I say, you know what, it doesn't hurt to try this. I'm getting older, and I don't want to have more serious health problems that than what I have right now, than what I had. And it's just, so let me just try this and just be as consistent with it as possible. So the main goal was to be healthier. And of course the plus of you really look good when you think about it. So that was the main goal. I have a family. I have a daughter that's very young. I want to be around for her as long as possible, and just be there for her. She is a very active young lady, and I saw the progress that my wife made. It would look odd for them to be so active and me kind of behind. So to keep up with them, so they're kind of like the inspiration behind this also. But the main thing, as I said before, was just to be healthier and to be around for long as possible. And and at some point, I went on these medication for a reason, because I was not healthy. So now, why not get yourself healthy to get off this medication? And that's what happened. Yeah.
Did you actually think you were going to come off the medications?
Actually, no, I didn't think I was. I just, because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, where am I going to lose weight? If I lose weight, what am I going to look like? I didn't realize that you can actually lose the body fat and put on more muscle, especially at my age. It's still possible, maybe not as quickly as somebody who's younger than I am, but it can be done, and you can get healthier. So, so it was a nice surprise to hear the doctor say, to hear the doctor say, well, this is great. Your numbers look good. And then just to be on the safe side, he sent me to a dietitian. And the dietitian loved the diet. You guys have put me on a thing there, on a nutrition plan, and he saw it and he loved it, and he said, keep it up and keep doing exactly that. And I did. So I think the key part of this also was what you eat, the diet, and tracking what you eat and stuff like that is also very important. So
Right. We'll
all of
get
that
into that.
helped. Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
So Clinton, let me ask you a question. So you're 48 years old now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how old did you feel before you started, and how old do you feel now?
That's hard to tell. How did I feel? How did I feel? Much younger. I feel more energy, like I'm in my late 30s or probably even younger. You have a lot more energy. I think feel a lot more energy. I mean, like right now. But in terms of then, I think it was more sluggish. You kind of like moving around and you're out of breath, before you know it. I mean, doing your normal everyday activity, you don't really feel it until you get home. But then once you start getting into some kind of an exercise, before it was easy to get out of breath and you're like tired and you're kind of like pass out. But now I can pretty much do exercise, you know, you feel a little sore, but then you feel energized and you feel like you're ready to go, you know, a little further. So right now you just overall you definitely have more energy, you feel much better about yourself.
Right. And the other thing too, that we don't really talk about this too much because no one really, you know, you don't really think to talk about this with people so much, but you're a working professional yourself. Mentally, has exercise and just getting healthier, has that changed?
Yes, because you feel you kind of think of the progress that you've made over the past year, and you're more determined to get what you need to get done because you're thinking, I did this, therefore this is easier. So the whole mental determination that you have in your head based on what you've accomplished over the last year, you know, kind of transfers over into your everyday life. So you're thinking, okay, I can do this. I mean, you know, if I plan properly and I stick to a plan that I have, then I can get pretty much anything done. So so it gives you that mental edge, and you're more alert when you think about it. You're more alert, and it doesn't mean that you won't get tired because you've had a long day. Of course you will, but your whole outlook on the way you approach things changes. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, for me, exercise has always been a big stress reliever, you know, and especially with
Yeah.
everything that's going on right now, it feels good to exercise because you gotta have an outlet for your body to get rid of like that pent up energy that we have. I mean,
Yes.
humans weren't designed to sit around all day.
Yes, it does, and it feels good. I mean, you want to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes you do a little in the morning. If you're doing it in the afternoon after work, it does kind of relieve that stress that you have built up from the day, and you go home relaxed and ready to just settle in for the evening. So it does help in the morning if you want a bit of a boost of energy before you go to work or whatever you do for the day, then that's good. Or even on weekends, you know, because my job doesn't require me to work on weekends. So on a Saturday or on a Sunday, you know, kind of like getting the stress of the week off, it's nice to have a good workout on a Saturday morning and just keep it going. Yeah.
Right. So let's forward, go back to the first day you started. Now, let's say we sat down that first day, we kind of gave you the plan and we said, okay, this is what we should do, Clinton. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you thought walking out of the gym that day. Were you confident in your ability to conquer it based on what we had said? And then talk about once you got the meal plan, just talk about like let's talk about your first week.
My first workout week was like, I could barely lift the bar. Seriously, it was kind of. I made up my mind I was going to do it, so there was no room for. I'm so embarrassed. I'm not coming back. But you know, I couldn't even lift the bar. I think a good 10 times, and I kept in mind, and you guys kept reminding me that it's going to get better. Just keep going. And you know, you did well for the first week, but you know, it was tough the first day, but you have to look beyond the first day and realize that this is just the beginning. And I kept that in mind and kept going, so I saw improvement over, you know, as the weeks went by. And I think the great thing that you guys did, you had data to back up what you were doing, so you recorded everything and showed us that, here, this is where you are, this is what you're doing now, this is where you are, this is what you're doing now. And then the diet was kind of like a relief, because you think that I'm going to have to stop eating certain things. I can't do so. Of course, you're going to stop the unhealthy stuff. And what it us to do was to cook more food at home, or think about what you're going to eat if you're going to go there and eat something. Think about what you need to leave out of your meal. For example, if you do, for some weird reason, end up at a McDonald's and you have to eat something, you think about what is it that you're getting there. Instead of getting that burger or whatever it is, get the salad from there, turn to dressing, and add more grilled chicken to it, and you're fine. So, but you're forced to kind of like plan your meals ahead of time, and it forced us to sit down and look at the menu, look at everything, and just plan whatever we want. The guidelines that we have, I mean, you're fine. So the diet for us, for me, was just kind of like a big relief, because I figured that I'm gonna have to stick to a specific set of things. To a certain extent, you have to, but you have so many choices and so many things you could do. And you realize that when you start logging all of that food, and you realize that, you know what, I'm doing pretty well, because I'm seeing where I'm taking in more protein and less fat, and I'm balancing it the right amount of carbs, and I'm getting carbs from different, a variety of areas. So that felt really good, because now when I walk into work with my food and everybody's eating their lunch, they're like, geez, what do you have there, Clinton? I'm like, oh, I have this and this and this. And they're like, wow, that's really healthy. That's really good. I'm like, yeah, I cooked from the night before. So it helps you to prepare and plan ahead. And it helps when you kind of think for like the week ahead or the day ahead and say, okay, this is what I'm going to have. And so you become more selective about what you eat. So it's easier for me to go out now and past $500 and not even stop, because I know what I'm getting from there is just not going to help. And if I have to, I know exactly what I need to get in order to stay within my range.
Right. And that's awesome. And one of the things that we always talk about, and I've preached it a ton of times on Facebook, social media, and just always we talk about, is the amount of protein that you need to consume in order to get healthier and change the way your body looks.
Yeah.
So when you first figured out how much protein you actually needed, were you in shock? Talk about that. Because that's the toughest part for most people, is getting their amount of protein.
That was something else. I think I ended up doing, before I was doing more carb and fat more than anything else. So when you think about it, you're like, this, it's just, and when you think about it, it's really a matter of making tweaks. If you are really conscious about what you're eating, but then you start documenting, you realize that, you know what, you can actually do it. So instead of going for like the whole chicken, you just go for specific parts of the chicken. Like you go for the breast, of course, that's the best part. And then if you must eat another piece, you can limit yourself to eating other pieces of chicken, but really, really limit it, because those are the fatty part. And then you can think of, there's other things that you can do. So it really forces you to think about what you're eating, and, and just how much you consume in terms of how much protein that you're going to get. And you realize that you can get protein from a variety of sources. So when I go into the supermarket to shop, I usually have that list, but I'm also looking for other proteins that I can get. I can pick up a can and say, no, okay, this is a great source of.
I lost you again, Clinton. No, I lost you. No, we lost you. I think your headphone jack. Pull it back. There we go. Oh, no, don't hear you yet. Pull it out. Listen, guys. Me? Yeah, we go. We hear you. Listen, we're not technically savvy here. We only know how to get in shape. That's it.
Yeah, hold on.
There we go. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. You're good, Clinton.
All right. Oops.
There we go.
Hey, okay, yes, go ahead.
You're good, man. Go ahead. No, you were saying how you pick up a can in the store?
Yes, I can pick up a can in the store. I know that even though it says it has a lot of protein on it, then I know that it may not be worth it because it has so much carb and fat in it. So it kind of makes you think about, this is my protein goal for the day. If I eat this, then I'm kind of like throwing it off. And you're not like becoming slavish to the plan, but you're just thinking ahead, and it becomes a normal part of how you respond to what you eat.
So Clinton, I have a question. So now you have blood pressure issues, right? So that was something that you've been on for a long time.
Had.
Right. Good. Sorry. Thank you. So you had blood pressure issues, right? So I was more talking about during your journey. So at any point, because a lot of people talk about that, like, this item has too much sodium intake. Did you actually watch sodium along the way? I want you to talk about your experience, because a lot of people freak out over the amount of sodium and things, and I have a feeling that you didn't.
No, I did not. I actually didn't watch the sodium intake at all. Yeah. I think what helped is that you're cooking your own food a lot. Right. And I'm able to control exactly what goes in it.
Right.
So I relied more on what I cooked. So I didn't have to worry about sodium intake at all. And if I had to eat something from a can or something out of the restaurant or something like that, it didn't impact me as much, because for me, a lot of the food that I was eating was what I cooked. It didn't mean that we didn't eat out or we didn't try some kind of a fast food product, but you just want to make sure, I think, most of the food, what you're consuming is what you are cooking for yourself. And I think generally if it were flipped, I think it wouldn't really matter that much, because you're exercising and you're working out and you are controlling and you're giving your body the kind of work that it needs first to control the blood pressure
Right.
and the way it absorbs food. I think that's just my
Right.
theory.
No, you're 100% right. And the thing that a lot of people forget too, especially when it comes to sodium, is, with blood pressure and all these other issues, the reason why most of the time these issues start is because we carry too much body fat. And when you carry body fat, not only on the way you look, but you carry body fat on the inside, on top of organs, on top of this, and
Yeah.
once you start losing that body fat, you get healthier. And most people forget that. We just want to look better. But you actually, before you even start looking better, you actually start getting healthier from the inside out. So I think that it's awesome that we touched upon that, because a lot of people look at the labels of things and say, oh, this has too much sodium, I'm not going to eat it. But meanwhile, that food has a ton of fat in it. A
Mm,
food that they may select otherwise that may have low in sodium may have a ton more fat in it, or a ton more
yeah.
calories. And I think that people
Yes.
overlook the big picture, where it's not so much micromanaging how many grams of sodium you're having, but more so how many calories you're eating in a day.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So I think the workout part is very good. It's just getting up and moving around and working out. Sticking is not. It doesn't need to have anything to do. It doesn't mean you have to exercise every day. You guys have me working out, I think, the most once per week, and you get a good solid workout for 30 minutes once a week, and you're good to go. And then watching what you eat, because you had that sign in your gym. You still have it that it's like, what is it, 70 or 85% of it is your diet,
Yep. You
and the
cannot
other
exercise a
percentage,
bad
of
diet.
course, is your workout, a good solid workout.
Yeah. Guys, Clinton lost 12% body fat, which means he's put on muscle and has lost body fat. He literally just said it, the key word right there. He worked out once a week for 30 minutes. But that's what he did workout wise. But the nutrition was 24/7. So Clinton always was watching his nutrition. I mean, listen, Clinton, we're all human. I'm sure you were tempted with things at some point. So how did you kind of overcome the temptations that you've had? Because in order to have the success you had to have done pretty well with the nutrition, and still are doing good with the nutrition. But how do you manage like just those feelings of, kind of like slipping back into your old ways?
You know what? Because we're human beings, every now and then you're gonna cheat. So I admit I cheated every now and then along the way, but you have to think about, if you're gonna cheat and have put it in as a part of your meal. For example, I think the biggest challenge at the time was really what I ate it as that counted as fat. There's some fatty things that I love to eat. I have a
Like what, man?
deadly
Let's hear
sweet
it. That's
tooth.
what. Like what?
So if I'm gonna have something that's considered fatty, I'm saving it for the time when I'm allowed to have a little bit more fat, or as a part of my cheat meal on Sunday. But always bear in mind that you're not gonna overdo it. You just have to balance it properly and be really conscious about it. And I think what helped is what you had suggested. You had the chart, which you could fill up by paper, or you use an app. I lived by the app that I used. So I logged everything and watched exactly what is it that I was taking in. So I knew that when I saw certain things, and I know it's going to tempt you to eat it, I either try to avoid it altogether or just incorporate it as a part of my meal, as long as it falls within the guidelines. For example, you said one day once on your on one of your app messages, if you're gonna have a cookie, have a cookie. But it's a cookie, not a
Right.
whole bag.
Right.
So you can treat yourself to these things every now and then, but don't make it the most part of your meal. There are other options that you can have. For example, the fat-free, what do you call it now? The fat-free pudding. Fat-free pudding, if you make it right and you put a little bit of the sweetener in it and stuff like that, you can satisfy your sweet tooth craving, but it's very healthy. If you loved whipped cream on your coffee, get the fat-free whipped cream. You know what I mean, and use it accordingly. So you can do that, but you have to kind of plan it, really plan it ahead. And I think that's the key part. Get into the habit of logging your stuff, and there are apps out there. I use the Nutritionix app. There's the myfitnesspal app. Those things will help you make it easier for you to log your food, because pretty much whatever you're eating is probably already in the system. You just scan your log and you keep going, and then that should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you touched on it right there before when you mentioned like preparing, right? So I
Yeah.
actually I have another question that'll kind of sync this together. So obviously, in order to achieve something, you have to kind of do it for the long haul. Then we always talk about achieving permanent fat loss and changing your body permanently. And in order to do that, you have to make it a lifestyle, right? So Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
for anybody listening, have you ever tried any other diets? And obviously the diets weren't lifestyle because then you would still be on them if you did do any of the other ones. But
Mm-hmm.
what makes what we have taught you nutrition wise different from every other diet you might have tried?
One of the diet I tried Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers is good for if you want to drop pounds, but it doesn't teach you how to, in my mind, it doesn't teach you how to intelligently select food and mix it together. You just see a certain food, this is a certain point, and you don't really, it doesn't really, I mean, it's good for that purpose, but you'd find yourself, if you're not thinking carefully, you'll find yourself losing too much weight and not doing it properly and intelligently. I think what you guys provided is that it's not something that's so much of a burden. You provided a wide variety of choices, and you set a set of guidelines that it says, okay, this is what you can have. Here are the guidelines that you will have. So on different days you can do different things, and try different combination of things. You can mix it up throughout the day. So you have a guideline. So not, let's say you are stuck on doing one thing, you're not banned from doing 7 things. You have food on your thing that are actually food that are high in fat, but you have a guideline in terms of when you can eat it and how much you can eat, which is a good thing. So you're not starving yourself from something that you love to eat. If you love a piece of steak, I think there's something in it where there's a time where you can have that. So I think it gives you choices, and you're not kind of like restricted where you're on a vegetarian diet and you have to eat only vegetable stuff, or you're on this diet where you have to only eat this. You have a wide variety of choices, which is what I like. And the good thing of which I think is a good thing is that this your plan kind of forces you to kind of prepare your food in advance. And it's not anything that requires elaborate preparation, but if you're creative and you want to do something creative, that's fine. So, but you find that it's much easier to work with if you plan ahead, you prepare ahead. If you're a busy working person like myself and my wife, you prepare ahead of time and you have your meal to get you have your meal ready to go. So I think that's the best part about it. The plan that we got, we had choices. It wasn't exactly restrictive, but it gave us choices and a variety of options throughout the day.
Right. I agree. And I always say that success is a planned event. None of this is going to happen on accident. And, I know that when someone is going to achieve a different level of success, it's usually because of their level of preparation. And
Yeah.
you have taken that above and beyond. So, I always tip my hat to you because I think you've achieved so much. Because a lot of guys, when they get to your age, even women too, they're like, oh, I can't do this. This is too much. I can't do this. But, here's the proof right here, guys. Clinton is 48 years old and he works out once a week. Well, now we upped him to twice, but he works out for an hour a week. There's people that go into the gym who are not even as close to as healthy as you are, who go triple that amount of time to the gym. And at that point, they're just spinning your wheels. And one of the things we always talk about is working smarter, not harder. Everybody thinks that this is as complicated as it's going to get, but in reality, it's really the nutrition that's the hardest part of it all. The exercise, I would say, it's not easy, but it's easy in the sense like, okay, you're coming to the gym, you do your workout, you leave. But the nutrition, it's a constant, battle of, again, being prepared, monitoring what you're eating, understanding the difference between foods. So I guess that brings me to my question is, what is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself and nutrition-wise during your journey so far?
Remember, if you set your mind to it, you can actually do it. Even if you it may look daunting, but you can actually do it, and it's just never too late. I mean, for a minute there, I thought I was going to be on this medication for the rest of my life, and I got off it just
No
by
more.
finally listening to you and listening to what the doctor said: lose some weight, and just redefining what it means to lose some weight, lose the body fat, and put on some more muscle, and work at it. And that's, I think, the biggest thing I've learned about myself. If you set your mind to doing something, you can actually do it.
Right.
Don't limit yourself. Don't feel embarrassed if you feel embarrassed about going to a gym or working with a personal trainer or something like that. Put that out of your mind and just go ahead and do it. You won't get laughed at, teased at, or anything like that. You'll find at AB Fitness an environment where they encourage you and they push you very hard, and you just have to try and do your best. And you will actually achieve it. They're not going to leave you hanging out there like, here's a diet, here's the thing, and that's it. Come back and when you're working on it. But it's nothing like that. So you're working in an environment where you're followed. You are followed in the sense that they're monitoring and they're checking in on you, and of course you have to give some accountability for yourself. So I think that's the best part about it. And just with the whole diet piece, I think that I learned the most is that your diet is so important. What you eat, you have to exercise some discipline, and I think even also when you think of the amount of money that you spend on fast or pre-prepared foods, it's so much more than if you go to the supermarket and prepare it yourself and you take it to work with you and you eat your food there. So, you save money along the way. So it really works. I think, people ought to give it a serious try. At my age, if I can do it at my age, you can certainly do it at your age. I've seen people in your gym much older than I am, and they're keeping up with the best of me, even beating me sometimes in what they're doing. Not that it's a competition, but you see how well they're doing, and you're just motivated. Like, if they can do it, so can I.
Right.
And it's just a really good environment to be in.
So Clinton, it's been almost a year now that 90% of people who start any fitness program quit after the first 2 weeks. So you're a year into your journey. So why is it that you keep coming? What keeps driving you to keep going?
Because of the my biggest motivation is that a number of things. Number one, the environment there is great, and it encourages you to continue. Number two, I've tasted of success and I like it. I like the feeling of success and achieving. And number three, also my doctor, my doctor has promised to hurt me if I ever go back to what I was. So when I visit him again this summer, he says he will be ready to hurt me if I am not doing what I'm supposed to do. So you have a lot of encouragement right there. So after you've achieved this kind of a success, you don't want to go back. You know what I mean? So and I like not having to having to call the pharmacy. Where's my prescription? I'm coming to pick it up, or they call me and tell me it's ready. Come and pick it up. I like that part, and I like going to the doctor, and when they say what medications you're on, I can tell them none. I just take vitamins and that's it. And they're like, "Wow, that's great." So that kind of helps. So, all those things kind of feed into the reason why you want to keep going. And there are days when you're gonna be like, "Oh gosh, I really don't want to do this today." And then you think about, okay, you're at this point, it's really good. You're just ready for 30 minutes, give it your best shot, and then you're done with it for the day. And that's it. So all of that just keeps you going, you know what I mean? And that's really great.
And it's funny because when Clinton started, not too long ago, we actually, as a gym, we all did the Spartan race together. And Clinton was one of those guys. I was so excited for him to come along with us and do it. But I think you even surprised yourself at that event. Let's talk about that.
I was
quick.
surprised. I looked at the medal again today. The medals again. I'm like, wow, I actually did it. The Spartan race was really good. I saw it, and I don't think there's anybody who wasn't terrified of the thought of doing the Spartan race, because you're thinking of these professional athletes flying through it and finishing it in like 30, 40 minutes. I think I just made up my mind that, you know what, I'm not in a competition. I'm just going to go there, do the very best I can, and just get to the finish line. So I was surprised that I actually finished it, and it was fun. I think we were prepared to do it again this year, but things change. But we'll see. It was a nice accomplishment. It was a nice feel-good moment, and it was a nice accomplishment to know that we did something that was really difficult, and we got over it. And a lot of the preparation that we had for the race came from actually being in the gym with you guys. So thanks.
Ah, man, anytime, like I said, my goal for that was to be the last one. I wanted all of you guys to make sure that you passed me and make sure that everyone got through it safely. And I was
Mm,
just so proud when I crossed the finish line at the end to see everybody's faces. It was
hmm.
an awesome accomplishment for me. I was
Yes,
so
it
excited for
was.
that. And like I said, just telling everybody, hey, let's do a Spartan race again. Everyone kind of gives me that look like, what? No.
People thought you were crazy, but we did it. We did
Yep.
it. Because we think of Spartan race, we're thinking of people who are super athletes who do that. But it's what you saw there was us and everyday people who just want to do something, and we did it. It was a nice workout, and we finished in great time. So.
Yeah, we
So
did.
that was good. It was a tough. It's a very difficult race. But if you have the right motivation and you just keep in mind, I'm getting to the end. I'm getting to the end. You'll have a lot of fun.
Well, like you said before, when you put your mind to it, you can accomplish it. So I put my mind to
Yes.
it that we're all going to do it, and we did it.
Yes.
So we did. But Clinton, listen, thank you so much for your time today. I think that this episode is going to help so many people because I think you're going to give them that inspiration to finally be able to come off their medications and finally be able to achieve what they're put in their mind that they want to achieve. So thank you so much for that. But on a final note here, I want you to give advice to someone who might be listening to this who may be interested in starting or thinking about trying a personal trainer or just thinking about trying a program in general? What would be some advice that you would give someone your age? Or actually, I got a better question. What advice would you give the old you looking to get started?
You should have started it earlier. What was wrong with you? Yeah. I would never tell myself to just started it earlier, but if I'd started it earlier, maybe I would have met you guys.
Right.
But to anybody right now, AB Fitness is a good place to start. It's a very good place to start. It's not a group of guys or ladies that will throw you into a gym and say start working out and do the diet on your own. You're getting the whole package. They're going to sit you down, they're going to evaluate you, and they're going to say, well, this is a diet that's for you. It's not even a diet, excuse me. It's just this is what you need to change about your eating habits, and you take it day by day. If you can spare 30 minutes out of your day once a week, you're going to be great, and the rest of it has to do with the kind of foods that you eat. So my advice to everybody is to just try it. Go ahead and do it. And if I can do it at my age, there's no reason. There are people in your gym, as you know, who are much older than I am, who have done it, who are doing it, and they're having great success. So if you're younger than me, there is no excuse. Go ahead and do it. I suspect that in your case, a lot of the medical issues, for anybody who's listening, if you have medical issues and your doctor's encouraging you to exercise and get some workout done, this is the place you have to go, you know what I mean? And just get it done, because in the end, who's going to benefit? You're going to benefit, your family is going to benefit. If you have kids, they're going to be happy to see that you're active, you're healthy, and that you're going to be around for much longer than what you would be if you were just going to be living independent on medication. So that's my advice. Get it done. Get some exercise in, and you won't regret it.
Clinton, I have one more question, one more follow-up question for that because I forgot to ask. How different is your wardrobe now than before? How many
Oh
pants did you have
gosh,
to get
yes,
rid
I had
of?
to throw out a lot of clothes. I had to throw out a lot of clothes. My waist size was a 36, and in some case 38. I had to throw them all out.
And where are you now?
And I had to get new clothes. I had to go from an extra large in many cases to in one case I ended up with a small and a medium, but I'm at medium and large right now because I put on some muscle. And my jeans, I had to throw out almost all of them. And I'm gonna get down to a 33, 34. I remember
Awesome,
I
man.
went into the store to buy pants, and the guy said, oh, you're gonna have to do a 33. I'm like, no way, I don't do 33. That was when I was a teenager. I did a 33, and he says, okay, we'll see. So he brought up the 33 pants. I put it on. I'm like, you're actually right, there was a 33 with a little room in between. So I'm for my suits, I had to take them to the cleaners and tell the lady, you got to take these suits in because they're not too big for me. And she said, are you okay? Are you sick? I'm like, no, it's a good thing. I lost some weight. I'm healthy. I'm all of that. I just have to take them in because these suits are practically brand new. I just got them. I can't give them away. I just have to take them in. And she did. And she said, okay, I'm going to leave a little space in between just in case you put it back. And I'm like, no, no, no.
Don't do
Stick
that.
to my size. Really, it's going to be like that. And we did fine. So my wardrobe is different. My wardrobe is, I had to get rid of a lot of clothes, and I had to get some new ones, and I had to take in some pants, you know, the more expensive ones that I'm not willing to part with. All right.
All right,
Yeah.
buddy. Well, I'm so proud of all your success. Like, you know, I could sing your praises, you know, all the time, because I talk about you all the time, because I love your transformation. I love your energy that you bring to the environment, to the gym. You're such an inspiration for a lot of people. And I think that this episode is going to help a lot of people. So Clinton,
Okay.
thank you again for everything, buddy. And you keep up the good work, because this is just the beginning for you.
Great. This is just the beginning. Thank you so much.
No problem, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.